The 1968 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is one of the most intriguing coins among collectors, not only due to its historical importance, but also because of its hidden potential value that can reach up to $3,200 depending on its condition and grading. This coin, part of the long-running Lincoln Cent series, was minted during a period of great transition and change in the United States, both politically and economically. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin features the enduring portrait of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, a design first introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Lincoln's birth. On the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo and introduced in 1959, the coin depicts the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., replacing the earlier wheat ears design. The inscription, United States of America, arches across the top, with E pluribus unum below it, and 1 cent centered at the bottom. This design ran from 1959 to 2008, making the 1968 edition part of a key transitional era in numismatic history. What makes the 1968 penny especially fascinating is the absence of a mint mark on some of these coins. Typically, coins minted in Philadelphia before 1980 did not carry a mint mark, and this includes the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny. However, many collectors often confuse it with coins that may be errors or those from the San Francisco or Denver mints, which carry S and D mint marks respectively. The absence of a mint mark in this case is not an error, but it still piques collector interest due to the coin's age, condition, and potential hidden value. The 1968 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, with a weight of 3.1 grams and a diameter of 19.05 mm. This copper composition means that its intrinsic metal value has also fluctuated over time, although its true worth lies in rarity and collector demand rather than melt value. What propels the 1968 no mint mark penny to such high values, as much as $3,200, is its grade and condition. Coins that have been graded MS-67 or higher by top grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic, Guarantee Company, are extremely rare and are usually preserved in mint state with no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration. Coins in circulation, by contrast, usually bear visible wear and thus are valued at only a few cents to a few dollars. However, uncirculated 1968 no mint mark pennies that are flawless, perfectly struck, and well preserved can fetch thousands of dollars at auctions or among collectors who seek high-grade specimens for their personal or investment portfolios. The most valuable versions of the 1968 no mint mark penny are those that are not only in mint state, but also display sharp details, a clean strike, original red color, known as RD designation in grading, and zero contact marks, especially on Lincoln's cheek, jaw, and coat, as well as on the Lincoln Memorial columns on the reverse. These features can drastically elevate the market price. According to recent auction records, some 1968 no mint mark Lincoln cents in MS-67 RD condition have sold for as high as $3,200, making them an excellent hidden treasure for those who take the time to examine their old coin collections. Another reason for this coin's high demand is its historical and nostalgic value. The year 1968 was a turbulent time in American history, marked by the Vietnam War, civil rights movements, and the assassinations of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robert F. Kennedy. Holding a 1968 penny is like holding a tiny piece of that history, preserved in copper, which adds a layer of emotional significance for many collectors. Additionally, because the coin is now over 5 decades old, finding one in pristine, untouched condition is increasingly difficult, further enhancing its rarity and collector demand. While there are no major mint errors commonly associated with the 1968 no mint mark penny, collectors often look for die cracks, double dies, and off-center strikes that may add to a coin's value if discovered. Even minor errors, when authenticated by a professional grading service, can significantly increase a coin's worth beyond its face value. It is also worth noting that coins struck with high die pressure or those from fresh dies in their early stages of use tend to have sharper and more detailed features, which are favored by grading companies and collectors alike. When submitting a 1968 no mint mark penny for grading, it's important to ensure it has been handled carefully, ideally using cotton gloves and stored in a protective holder to prevent contact with skin oils, dust, or moisture. The grading process will evaluate the coin's luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal, all of which play crucial roles in determining its final market value. Aside from grading and condition, collector trends and demand dynamics also influence how much a 1968 no mint mark penny can sell for. As more collectors focus on completing full Lincoln Memorial cent sets, coins from the 1960s in higher grades have gained traction as indispensable components. This, coupled with the fact that copper pennies are no longer being minted in large quantities, makes the 1968 penny increasingly attractive to investors and collectors. Additionally, with the ongoing rise in interest in numismatics worldwide, especially from younger collectors entering the hobby, the competition to acquire top-condition vintage coins has grown significantly. This trend supports the upward price movement of high-grade 1968 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial pennies. Furthermore, historical context enhances the allure of the coin. The switch from the wheat reverse to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959 was monumental in American coinage history, and by 1968, the design had become an iconic representation of post-war America. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse not only serves as a symbol of national unity and remembrance, but also subtly includes the statue of Lincoln seated within the monument, a fine detail that can be observed with magnification. These artistic and symbolic attributes contribute to the coin's appeal. As such, those who inherit or discover a 1968 no mint mark penny in excellent condition may unknowingly be holding a small fortune in their hands. Whether found in a family coin jar, passed down through generations, or discovered in a forgotten drawer, it is advisable to examine such coins carefully and consider professional grading to reveal their full potential. It's important to remember that not all 1968 no mint mark pennies will be worth thousands, as the vast majority in circulation are only worth face value or slightly more due to wear and tear. However, those few examples that have been preserved in superb condition, especially with red luster, clean surfaces, and full original detail, can command very high prices in today's market, sometimes crossing the $3,000 mark depending on timing and buyer interest. For collectors and investors alike, this coin offers both historical richness and the potential for significant returns, making the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny a fascinating and valuable piece of numismatic heritage that deserves attention, preservation, and respect. Next up, the 1970 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny stands as a remarkable piece of American numismatic history, attracting coin collectors with its subtle charm, historical relevance, and potential value that can soar up to $2,600 under the right circumstances. Minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally did not place mint marks on its coins prior to 1980, this penny is part of a decade marked by social change, innovation, and deepening interest in preserving historical artifacts, including coins. What makes this particular 1-cent coin stand out is not just its age or its copper-rich composition, but the fact that, when preserved in pristine condition, it can become a highly valuable collector's item. The obverse of the coin continues to feature the enduring bust of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," arching above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1970 struck to the right. This portrait, sculpted by Victor David Brenner, has been in use since 1909 and remains one of the most iconic and longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. The reverse of the coin showcases the Lincoln Memorial in crisp architectural Detail, a design introduced in 1959 by Frank Gasparo to replace the earlier wheat ears design. Upon closer inspection, one can observe the tiny figure of the seated Lincoln statue between the columns, reinforcing the historical and symbolic depth of the coin. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum appear above the monument, while 1 cent is boldly displayed below. The 1970 no mint mark penny is made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a reddish-brown appearance in most circulated conditions, though examples with full original red luster, often categorized as RD by grading companies, are highly sought after. Weighing approximately 3.11 grams and measuring 19.05 millimeters in diameter, this coin adheres to the traditional specifications that were standard for Lincoln cents before the composition was changed in 1982 due to rising metal costs. Though hundreds of millions of 1970 pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, finding one in mint state condition, especially at MS67 RD or higher, is surprisingly rare, which plays a significant role in determining its elevated market value. In ordinary circulation, these coins typically carry little more than face value, and most show signs of wear, discoloration, and small nicks from years of handling. However, when collectors encounter a 1970 no mint mark penny that exhibits flawless surfaces, original mint luster, and sharp strike details, especially on Lincoln's jaw, hair, coat, and the intricate architectural features of the Lincoln Memorial, it becomes a valuable rarity. The reason this coin can reach up to $20,600 in value lies in its combination of age, preservation, and scarcity in high grades. Coins that have been professionally graded by agencies like NGC or PCGS and assigned a high mint state designation, especially MS66 Plus or MS67 with red designation, have been known to achieve exceptional prices at auctions and private sales. These top-grade examples often appear in sealed slabs and remain untouched by human hands since leaving the mint. Collectors and investors are particularly drawn to these superior coins because they represent the finest survivors from an otherwise common mintage. Additionally, while the no mint mark designation in 1970 is standard for Philadelphia, collectors often search for varieties such as doubled dies or RPMs, repunched mint marks, in the San Francisco and Denver issues, making the no mint mark penny a distinct and desirable component of any complete Lincoln cent collection. Another layer of appeal is the historical backdrop against which this coin was issued. The year 1970 was a period of political tension, cultural shifts, and technological growth in the United States. The country was still embroiled in the Vietnam War. The civil rights movement continued to gain momentum, and there was an increasing awareness of the importance of historical preservation. Coins like the 1970 Lincoln penny, though small in denomination, became silent witnesses to this pivotal era in American history. For collectors, owning a coin from this time, especially one that remains untouched and well-preserved, means possessing a piece of history frozen in time. From a numismatic perspective, the 1970 no mint mark penny is appreciated not only for its potential monetary value, but also for the quality of strike and die state. Some of the coins struck earlier in the minting process display greater detail and sharper lines, adding to their desirability. Coins with full steps on the Lincoln Memorial, strong device definition, and clean fields are highly favored and may command a premium even before grading is considered. Furthermore, unlike many coins that gain value through minting errors or rare varieties, the 1970 no mint mark penny stands out purely on the merit of condition and grading scarcity, making it a true test of a collector's eye for quality and long-term preservation. Another aspect influencing value is the growing trend among collectors to complete entire Lincoln Memorial cent collections in high grade, from 1959 through 2008. Within this series, the 1970 no mint mark penny becomes a necessary inclusion. And because few high-grade examples exist, competition for top-quality coins remains strong. This demand ensures steady upward pressure on the coin's market value, particularly for uncirculated examples with original mint red coloration and full details. In many cases, uncirculated rolls of 1970 pennies have been discovered in bank vaults or old collections, but even among those rolls, finding specimens worthy of top-tier grading is rare. This rarity, especially among RD-designated coins, further underscores why the 1970 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny can fetch as much as $2,600 in the right conditions. It is worth noting that not all bright red-looking coins will qualify. For top grades, as even minute blemishes, toning spots, or microscopic scratches can lower their value significantly. This is why professional grading services play such a critical role in establishing the coin's authenticity, condition, and fair market value. They provide confidence to buyers and sellers alike that the coin meets the high standards required for premium pricing. As a general recommendation, if someone believes they have a 1970 no-mint mark penny in uncirculated condition, especially with full red luster and no visible damage, it is wise to handle it with gloves, store it in a proper holder, and consider submitting it for grading. Coins that have passed through multiple hands, suffered environmental damage, or been improperly cleaned often lose both aesthetic appeal and numismatic value. Therefore, preservation is key when it comes to maximizing the investment potential of this particular penny. Even for beginner collectors or those inheriting family collections, the 1970 no-mint mark penny serves as a compelling example of how a coin with a face value of just 1 cent can transform into a highly valuable collectible, provided it has been well cared for and is properly evaluated. It also introduces new enthusiasts to the broader world of U.S. coin collecting, where patience, knowledge, and attention to detail can turn ordinary finds into extraordinary assets. As demand for high-quality vintage coins continues to grow, especially from emerging markets and international collectors, the 1970 no-mint mark Lincoln penny will likely continue to see upward valuation pressure, particularly for rare top-grade examples. In conclusion, the 1970 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is much more than a copper cent from the past. It is a historic artifact, a collector's challenge, and a potential investment. Its value, which can reach up to $2,600, is shaped by the intersection of condition, rarity, historical context, and demand from a growing numismatic community. While most circulated examples will remain common, those rare pieces that have escaped the wear of time and survived in flawless condition offer both aesthetic beauty and financial reward. As with many coins from the Lincoln Cent series, the 1970 no-mint mark penny proves that even the smallest denominations can carry enormous significance in the eyes of collectors and historians alike, and it remains a captivating subject for study, admiration, and careful collection. Next up, the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is a captivating piece of numismatic history that continues to draw the attention of collectors due to its connection with America's bicentennial spirit, enduring design, and, in rare cases, a significant market value that can reach as high as $2,100. While it may appear like just another common cent at first glance, the 1977 penny minted in Philadelphia without a mint mark holds greater value when preserved in exceptional condition. This penny is a product of an era that embraced historical reflection and national pride, coming just 1 year after the United States celebrated its 200th anniversary in 1976. The Lincoln penny, which had already been circulating for nearly 7 decades by 1977, remained an important symbol of American unity and democracy. The obverse of the 1977 Lincoln Memorial penny continues to showcase the iconic right-facing profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, which by this point had become a pillar of U.S. coinage identity. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," stretch along the upper rim, with "Liberty" placed to the left of Lincoln, and the date 1977 sitting neatly on the right side. This design, though familiar, carries significant historical weight and is revered for its simplicity and symbolism. On the reverse, the design introduced in 1959 by Frank Gasparo features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a structure that had come to embody the ideals of freedom, unity, and perseverance. The detailing in the memorial, right down to the statue of Lincoln visible between the central columns, is a testament to the craftsmanship and artistry of the time. Surrounding the monument are the inscriptions United States of America and E pluribus unum above, and the denomination 1 cent below, all sharply defined when the coin is in mint condition. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, maintaining the same metallic standard used for pennies since the early 1960s and prior to the shift to a copper-plated zinc composition in 1982. The total weight of the 1977 Lincoln penny is approximately 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, adhering to the long-standing specifications of the Lincoln cent. Despite the vast number of these coins produced, Philadelphia alone struck hundreds of millions in 1977. The majority were circulated heavily, resulting in extensive wear that significantly reduced their collector value. However, coins that have remained untouched by circulation, retained their original red copper luster, and avoided contact marks or discoloration can be highly prized. It is precisely these rare high-grade examples, graded MS67RD or higher, by top numismatic authorities that can fetch prices up to $2,100 depending on current demand and condition. This dramatic difference between common and rare specimens illustrates how critical condition and preservation are in numismatics. Collectors pursue high-grade 1977 pennies for their historical continuity and challenge of finding specimens that have not suffered from decades of wear, oxidation, or mishandling. Coins that maintain a full, bright red tone, sharp relief on Lincoln's bust, and clear, undamaged fields are particularly desirable. In such cases, the coin's surfaces should exhibit a smooth, satin-like sheen with minimal abrasions. Details, like Lincoln's cheekbone, jawline, and beard on the obverse, along with the intricate columns and steps of the memorial on the reverse, must appear sharp and unblemished to qualify for top-tier grading. These small details determine whether a coin falls into a mid-range value or reaches the upper echelon of collectible worth. Although no mint mark on the 1977 penny is standard for Philadelphia-issued coins of that period, some collectors initially believe they've found an error coin. It's important to clarify that the absence of a mint mark on 1977 pennies is not an error, but the norm. Nevertheless, that hasn't diminished the appeal of the coin in high grades. The condition scarcity, not minting anomaly, is what drives the price for this particular year. While Denver and San Francisco also produced 1977 pennies with D and S mint marks, respectively, the Philadelphia issue's challenge lies in finding well-preserved examples, as most were used extensively in commerce and stored improperly over time. Another fascinating aspect of the 1977 penny lies in its era-specific significance. The mid to late 1970s in America was a time of post-Vietnam War adjustment, economic turbulence, and cultural transformation. The country had just emerged from the Watergate scandal and was transitioning through new leadership and policy changes. Coins minted during this period often carry the weight of these historical contexts, making them attractive to collectors, interested in not just the coin itself, but the stories it carries. The penny serves as a quiet, yet potent reminder of an America that was reshaping itself socially and politically, and collectors often appreciate coins like the 1977 penny as accessible relics of that complex chapter. The grading process is crucial. In establishing the value of any coin, and for the 1977 no mint mark penny, this is especially true. Professional grading services, such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, evaluate coins based on a standardized scale of 1 to 70, with coins at MS65 and above being considered investment grade. An MS67 RD 1977 penny, for instance, could be valued at $1,000 to $2,100 depending on the market and the coin's eye appeal. Eye appeal, referring to how visually striking and attractive the coin is, plays a major role in the final valuation, alongside surface preservation, color, and strike sharpness. In particular, red-designated RD coins with full brilliance are worth substantially more than their brown, BN, or red-brown, RB counterparts. While the 1977 no-mint mark penny is not typically associated with well-known minting errors, there are occasional examples of coins exhibiting minor die cracks, off-center strikes, or weak strikes. These errors, if authenticated, can sometimes add premium value. However, the primary factor influencing price remains condition. Even a slight difference in the strike quality or a single noticeable flaw can result in hundreds of dollars difference in auction prices. That's why handling and storage are vital for anyone hoping to preserve or discover a high-value piece. Collectors recommend storing such coins in acid-free holders or third-party grading slabs away from heat, humidity, or direct sunlight. Over time, this careful approach can preserve the original red luster, which is essential for maintaining the coin's high market value. As more collectors aim to build full sets of Lincoln Memorial cents in top condition, demand for coins like the 1977 no-mint mark penny has increased. This demand, combined with the ever-growing interest in vintage U.S. coinage, is contributing to rising auction prices and competition among both novice and seasoned collectors. Moreover, with the shift in the U.S. Mint's metal compositions in the 1980s, earlier copper-based coins like the 1977 issue are viewed with added appreciation for their classic metal quality and traditional craftsmanship. Copper pennies from this period are heavier, more richly toned, and often favored for their aesthetic and tactile appeal. As supply of top-grade copper Lincoln pennies from the 1970s continues to diminish, prices are expected to remain strong, or even increase over time, especially for those few examples that exhibit perfect preservation. The coin's legacy is also enhanced by its role in the longer lineage of the Lincoln penny series, which remains one of the most collected and studied coin series in the world. Its place as a bridge between the wheat penny era and the later shield reverse further cements its importance. The 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny, while often overlooked due to its commonality in circulation, transforms into a valuable and historical artifact when discovered in uncirculated, flawless condition. For collectors who take the time to study, identify, and professionally grade their pieces, the reward can be significant, both financially and historically. The knowledge that a simple copper coin can rise in value from 1 cent to over $2,000 illustrates the power of numismatics to transform everyday objects into cherished treasures. In the world of coin collecting, where rarity, condition, and history intertwine, the 1977 no-mint mark penny stands as a shining example of how meticulous preservation and a keen eye can unlock surprising value in even the most humble pieces of currency.